Hello and welcome to our first of two pre-recorded sessions on compassion fatigue. This presentation is brought to you by the partnership of School District 62 and Kenneth Young Center. This presentation will be conducted by myself, Taisha Trina, and my counterpart, Andrea Vargas. Within our roles as community navigators, we work closely with children ranging from early learning to middle school age students that exhibit behavioral problems. Our goal is to intervene by mentoring, tutoring, and providing referrals for necessary resources. In addition, we offer monthly parent support groups that provide a place where parents can share experiences and gain opportunities by discussing parental challenges and strategies. At Kenneth Young Center, our mission is to partner with communities to support people of all ages to navigate life's challenges through personalized prevention, intervention, treatment, and recovery. Kenneth Young Center offers older adult services where we provide resources to promote independency as long as possible. In addition, we offer mental health services for all ages that is catered to an individual's need. And we also provide an LGBTQ+ center for youth and allies to have a safe space to learn about self-expression and identity, where they can build strong interpersonal connections with other LGBTQ+ youth, ages 11 to 17, and young adults 18 to 24. And lastly, our Community Collaborations Department offers prevention and recovery support services. And in relation to KYC services, we'll be presenting 3 commercial breaks throughout this presentation that will provide you further insight on additional services for District 62. Please enjoy this commercial break related to Kenneth Young Center's non-clinical services.
Hi. I am Mario Nunez, Project Associate for Kenneth Young Center's Teen Reach After School program at District 62. We offer extracurricular programming to middle school students who are recommended by their school counselors. Our goals are to improve education performance, promote and develop healthy life skills, and overall present positive adult mentorship. Our program involves fun and interactive STEM activities, team building recreational activities, and informative social emotional learning. This program has provided great benefits to students coming back from remote learning and has created a great path for students to love the school environment. If you know any District 62 students who would benefit from this program, please talk to Ben Keel at Algonquin Middle School, Joanna Krause at Iroquois Community School, and Kristen Krupinski at Chippewa Middle School. Thank you for listening about our Teen Reach program.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your commercial break. Let us pick up where we left off, which is talking about compassion. Compassion is the emotional response one has perceiving suffering. This involves an altruistic desire to help others. It's the feeling of sorrow and concern for another person, coupled with the desire to alleviate that person's suffering. For example, if a student came to me revealing physical abuse in the household, I would genuinely empathize with the student's situation. Then I would try to understand how that student is feeling mentally and emotionally. And with great motivation, I would want to take the proper course of action to help that student get out of that horrible situation that they originally had expressed to me. Due to the important role we all play in a student's life, there are numerous encounters where we can look back and truly say that we enjoy what we do. We all have helping professions, and in turn, that means we exhibit compassion satisfaction. The reason being is because each of our professions nurture growth and address the problems of a person's physical, psychological, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Although there are many instances when we experience compassion satisfaction, we also experience compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue is the profound emotional and physical strain that takes place when helpers, such as teachers, administrators, and support staff, are not able to refuel or rejuvenate. Interactions with people can take an emotional toll on anyone. For example, when a staff member is consistently thinking about a student's struggle outside of the school environment, one can become too emotionally and mentally exhausted to want to put forth effort to express that inner emotion regarding that given scenario. When someone is dealing with compassion fatigue, you're most likely already experience burnout as well as vicarious trauma for an extended period of time. Burnout is the exhaustion that workers encounter when they have low job satisfaction, have a sense of feeling powerless, and feeling overwhelmed at work. If the environment is stressful enough, this can lead to an individual being apprehensive about going to work each day. On the other hand, vicarious trauma is an overall shift in worldview that occurs when helping professionals work with clients who have experienced trauma themselves. For instance, a teacher may witness a student's difficult home life and then internalize that to affect the teacher's sense of safety for their own children. Another example would be when a therapist is affected by the experiences and stories of their patients that may trigger their thoughts, mood, and overall welfare. All in all, burnout and vicarious trauma or secondary trauma can come together and lead to compassion fatigue. Moving forward, let's review aspects in our work and personal lives that can contribute to compassion satisfaction and compassion fatigue. We all have policies and procedures, social norms, culture, tasks at hand, and management and/or colleagues that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Each of these examples promote stress, but at the same time, they can help alleviate stress. For instance, policies and procedures help us create healthy boundaries with the people we're working with, but at the same time, they can create a red tape and ultimately make our jobs more difficult than they need to be. Another example is when we encounter communication with our colleagues. Colleagues can help us with important tasks throughout any given day, but at the same time, they can also add more stress to an already overflowing caseload. Continuing to understand aspects that can help or hinder our ability to control stress is our internal factors. Here is where we want to focus on our natural temperament, our personality and life experiences, paired with the ability to self-regulate. As many of us work directly with children, we are all aware as mature adults and role models that we need to self-regulate ourselves day to day when dealing with unpredicted behaviors. As educators, we execute self-regulation by controlling one's behavior, emotions, and thoughts in the pursuit of a long-term goal for ourselves or the demographic that we serve. As we all obtain helping professions, we know how demanding this can be under normal circumstances. Since the pandemic, things have become more uncertain as ever before due to constantly having to deal with the unknown. Since we're all having to abruptly adjust to state and local policies, there's been an increase in the following: isolation, death, anxiety, grief, fear, worry, and so many more emotions. It also hinders our spirits when we constantly hear the news portray only negative stories. Yes, it's important to be informed and well-educated on the current matter at hand, but it also hinders us when we constantly hear negative news and affecting our mental and emotional well-being. In fact, studies have shown a strong link between social media and the increased risk for depression, anxiety, self-harm, and even suicide ideations. In addition to the emotional imbalance COVID-19 has caused, we're also battling racial unrest. Since COVID-19, it's been brought into focus the impact of racist and capitalistic driven systemic inequities, which can be translated to the lack of fairness or justice of certain communities, and in this instance, primarily minorities. When we take a look at socioeconomic status, there's no doubt that minorities struggle with proper education, income, occupations, day-to-day resources, power, and control. But dealing with COVID-19, we need to understand and realize that everyone, African Americans, Asians, American Indian, and or Alaska Native, Latinos, and Caucasian races are struggling as a whole due to the unprecedented circumstances on a global level. Let's move forward and discuss the roles that school staff members have on a day-to-day basis in which impacts our students. All who work in schools fill many roles each day. Not only are you educators, but you're also listeners, helpers, allies, custodian, and even technical support. And I'm sure I haven't even covered additional titles. So please take this moment to brainstorm other roles that you play as an educator. Great. I hope you came up with some creative titles that relate to what you do on a day-to-day basis. The overall goal of this exercise is to emphasize how teachers, administrators, and support staff obtain many important qualities. It's easy to forget to take pause when there's so many things going on in our daily lives. But please try and take away key points from this presentation and incorporate healthy techniques that will strengthen your balance between your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. And for additional support related to the human psyche, please enjoy this next commercial break related to Kenneth Young's clinical services.
Hello, my name is Samantha Acosta, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a school mobile therapist on the District 62 team at the Kenneth Young Center. Our school-based services offer an array of services to students and their families in District 62. These wraparound services include individual, family, and group therapy, crisis intervention, support for school social workers, and community support for parents and caregivers. Our individual therapy services can be offered in a variety of different settings, including in school, in the student's home, or in the community based on the student's needs. Our mobile therapists also offer family therapy within the home setting to provide support to students and their family members. Group therapy is offered to students based on the trends and patterns that are identified by teachers, school social workers, and students. These groups are offered at the schools for easy accessibility for students to attend regularly. Crisis intervention is offered Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to ensure the emotional, physical, and mental safety for all students. School mobile therapists will complete a comprehensive assessment alongside the school social worker to assess for the safety of the student and make appropriate referrals as needed. Our wraparound services do not only support students, but they also support family members within the household, teachers, and school social workers. We work as a collaborative team to ensure that all needs of the students are being met effectively. School mobile therapists coordinate with parents, guardians, and school social workers to identify treatment plan goals and referrals offered within the community. School mobile therapists also provide educational opportunities for school social workers and parents to learn about clinical needs that students are facing on a daily basis. With the Kenneth Young Center and District 62, our mission is that together we thrive to support that every student is a contributing member of society in local, community, and global settings. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning back in. We'll now move forward to talk about the signs and symptoms of compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue affects many dimensions of life, and it has many signs and symptoms. Every individual will feel one or many of these, but maybe not all. Some signs include loss of sleep, decrease in productivity and effectiveness, decrease in cognitive ability, or trouble concentrating. You may experience anger or resentment, change in worldview, change in self-identity, loss of spirituality, or loss of morale. An example could be that you may start to notice that you are having trouble sleeping, causing you to sleep at a later time than you usually would. Your friends or family may notice this first, and these signs and symptoms may come on gradually. In the next slides, we will talk about more signs and symptoms. More signs and symptoms include impaired judgment, change in behavior, your need to withdraw from normal activities, isolation, overwhelmed with obligations, increased pessimism, and you may begin to self-medicate. You may find yourself talking to people less and less, or spending more than your usual time alone, or without socializing with people. More signs and symptoms include emotional numbness, apathy, feelings of failure or self-doubt, feelings of guilt and powerlessness, sadness or depression, loss of self-worth, loss of hope and meaning. You may have trouble finding meaning in your work, and you may lose hope in a project you were once very excited for. If you do feel extreme sadness or loss of hope, please call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255 or text 741-741. In this scenario, Alex is a fairly new teacher at Very Real Middle School. They teach PE to 6th, 7th, and 8th grades and love sports. Alex always participates in the lessons and loves interacting with their students. Alex has been working with students who are victims of abuse and trauma at home. Alex often talks to these students about their experiences at home and tries to provide support to them. Lately, though, Alex has been uninterested in participating in the lessons and has been extremely irritable and short-tempered with the class. What can Alex do to combat their compassion fatigue? After the commercial break on Kenneth Young Center's Teen Reach program, we'll be talking about ways we can prevent compassion fatigue.
Hi, I'm Dulce Elizares, a community navigator with the Kenneth Young Center. I work with students of District 62 who have been identified by social workers as needing additional support. Community navigators assist students by providing mentoring, building life skills, tutoring, and linking them to LGBTQ+ recovery and housing services as needed. I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of families this year, but one of my most memorable experiences was meeting with my first case. A family of 3 that was dealing with housing and food uncertainty, needing of legal aid support and guidance for 2 boys. Initially, I was a bit nervous to work with this family because of the overwhelming amount of support they needed. The mom was very candid about the immediate needs and support she was looking for, and the 2 boys were easy to get along with. Being a community navigator isn't always easy, but it's made easier when you have the opportunity to impact the life of youth. We look forward to serving the youth and families of District 62.
Now let's talk a little about the ABCs of preventing compassion fatigue. A stands for awareness. Higher stress levels make you more vulnerable to compassion fatigue, so it is important to understand contributing factors. You need to be aware. What are things you know cause you stress? Be aware of those things. How do you respond to stress? You may have to remove yourself from certain situations. Why don't we take a minute right now to do a quick body assessment? What is happening in your body in this moment? Take 1 minute to assess your body from head to toe. As you think about how you're feeling, consciously relax. Be in the moment and calm your breathing. You will have 1 minute for this short body assessment. Note how you feel. Are you tensed or relaxed? Are you tired or alert? Is your breathing steady? If you are tense, try to relax one muscle at a time. This is something that you can do multiple times each day to reset. B stands for balance. You can practice this by finding sources of energy and healing outside of work that brings you joy to yourself. What brings you joy? What are you grateful for? Who do you love? What made you laugh? Find things you enjoy and schedule time for them. Allow yourself quiet time and acknowledge loss and grief, even for things you lost during the pandemic. Focus on what you can control and reframe your thinking. Problems can be challenges and stressors are new opportunities. Take 30 seconds to write down on your paper or on your phone one thing you would like to schedule time to do in the next week and one thing that gave you joy today. There are other aspects of a balanced life as well. Make efforts to eat well and in moderation. Get enough rest and limit your news intake. And remember to have fun on purpose. C is for creating connections and maintaining support systems. All of us need support systems, both at work and outside of work. Be intentional about choosing those who you let into your inner circle. Do they lift you up or bring you down? Are they fun? Do they listen well? Who can you talk to? Carve out time for these people and make sure to schedule time to reach out to them and connect. Take 30 seconds right now to set a reminder in your phone to contact one person that you thought of. Before the next training on February 7th, 2022, please take a moment to fill out the ProQual assessment. ProQual stands for Professional Quality of Life. ProQual includes compassion satisfaction, the positives about working in a helping profession, and compassion fatigue, the negatives about working in a helping profession. This assessment is the most widely used measure of compassion satisfaction and fatigue in the world and has been used for 15 years. It is not a test, but it is to see where you are at any given time. We would like for you to take a minute after we are done today to fill out the ProQual assessment. We will talk briefly about the results on February 7th at the beginning of the second pre-recorded compassion fatigue training. You can find the assessment on the webpage where you found the link to this presentation. It is a part of a toolkit of resources put together just for you. Please feel free to email us at Tisha T@kennethyoung.org, Andrea Vargas, Andrea V@kennethyoung.org, and Marianne Rogensky, Marianne R@kennethyoung.org. These were all the resources used for this presentation. You can find these resources in the toolkit that was previously mentioned. And again, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.